Recording. Awesome. Okay, so I have all your questions here,
Mhm.
and it's important that you save the recording after it's done. So it'll pop up in our little message chat section. All you have to do is click on it and save it, and that way you have it. Okay,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
perfect. So yeah, let's just start, make the most of our time. And then
Hmm.
if we have time left, I can just tap into your energy and see if there's anything else that your guides want to say.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's great. Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
what lesson to learn from my youngest daughter, Natalie? Okay, perfect. How old is she?
10.
She's 10. Okay. And then how many daughters do you have, or how many children do you have?
2.
Two. Okay, perfect. All right, let's take a look here. 1 second. Mhm. Okay, so tapping into her energy, I see where the two of you can have some disharmonious energy and also trigger each other as well. And honestly, what I saw is that you two are actually a very strong mirror of one another. So, in a lot of ways, she is like you are like her, and that's kind of where the trigger comes from, which
Mm-hmm.
is annoying, but it's also really beautiful because there's so much to learn within that as well. Um, I was also seeing many, many lifetimes that you two have had together as well. And it's almost like in her, there's always this rebellion that she has towards you, right? As well, like kind of pushing away that mirror once again. And what did your guides say? So your guides mentioned that it's really important that you have to re-neutralize that energy. um, it's almost like there's a lot of polarity in your relationship. Like there's a lot of that fight or flight mentality. So um, the one thing that your guides mentioned was really just listening to her and giving her more space. Because right now there's a lot of like protection on your end, a lot of pushing
Uh,
also on your end as well, just because you are the parent and
mhm.
children do need reform and structure. But like spending an hour and saying this is an hour where we can create or play with toys together, right? Like and really giving her that space, that's going to recalibrate the relationship. There's a lot of this energy in the relationship right now, and maybe it goes on for another couple months, but you have a good balance, and then it gets really skewed again and you guys trigger each other a lot again. Okay, that's also when you need to recalibrate, listen to her, respect her, give her that space, be very open and honest with her, and that's going to recalibrate that energy. And even if you sit her down and say, every time you fight me, I feel like I'm not being a good mom. I feel like I'm not supporting you in that way, right? So instead of just that butting heads, you can really be open and vulnerable, and then she'll meet you halfway in that open and vulnerable space as well.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, good, good.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so that's just the relationship that you guys have, and the energy. So it's less about clearing, right, old stuff. It's more about recalibrating and balancing in the present moment. And just throughout your relationship, you're going to have to do that every once in a while. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, so for both you and your daughters, most important past life to learn from. Fantastic. And then you have an older daughter, I guess?
Yeah, she's 12 years old.
She's 12. And what's her first name?
Melina.
Melina. Okay, perfect.
You
Okay,
told
let's take.
Just a second. You told me the last time that she came to me from the last previous life to this life.
Mm. Okay, yes, beautiful. So
Mm.
maybe exploring that a little bit more or seeing what else is there between
Okay.
the three of you. Yeah,
Okay.
let's take a look. Okay, beautiful. So I see a past lifetime. I don't think it was your very last one, but it was definitely on this planet and quite recent, like maybe the like 1600s. Very similar dynamics. You were their mother, they were both your daughters. Even the age difference was similar, right? Melina being the older one. And what was it? Oh yeah, it was just beautiful. Like there wasn't a major trauma that happened. There wasn't a major issue. But it seems like either their father, your husband, wasn't present or he wasn't around, or there was like a removal of the man in the equation and in the relationship. And it was really the three of you as this very tight-knit group. And you're very strong, like you're very mama bear energy, and you protect them, like you're very good at that. And you're almost even hyper aware of protecting them because you feel like you're the only one who's really got that ability to protect them in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you were that way in that past lifetime as well. And then what's so beautiful is as they got into their 20s and they started to be adults and their own humans, they really started taking care of you. And there was this switch that happened. And there was a moment in your life in that lifetime where you were able to relax, you know? And I think that you're going to get that in this lifetime, still a couple years out. But
Mm.
there's going to be this moment where you can take off that mom hat and you can be a friend with them. And that's when I feel like there's going to be this also a rebalancing and probably a little bit of an ego death of the mother identity.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to be able to relax because you're so caught up in the protection. There's a lot of energy going to the protection and making sure they're okay and they're understanding and being raised properly and all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, super beautiful. So yeah, I mean, it's just been the same dynamic again. As far as a lesson, I don't really see a major trauma, but I think it's balance. I think that's what it is having the ability to play different roles and being able to balance the dynamic within the role that you're playing with your children and for them with you as a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I can recognize that because in this lifetime I have done that until now. Actually, I haven't let my husband step in. I have protected them, and now I have made him very into the family and to the children.
Yes, amazing. Okay. So here's what it is then. In that past lifetime, you so protected them that you didn't even let him in. And in this lifetime, you're letting go of that control a little bit, which is allowing you to relax finally. And that's fantastic, right? You're completing that cycle. I'm so proud of you. Way to go. That's awesome. Seriously. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
I,
good. Okay,
can I
cool.
just say one more thing?
Yeah.
Can I just say one more thing? I just watched your videos on Flight and Fight, and like 6 hours ago, I made a fight and flight diary before I saw them.
No way. Wow, spot on. Yeah,
Think.
yeah, yeah. So incredible. Good. I think, everyone's kind of right there with their mindset too. Okay, good. Next question. How many different grids are there? So are you talking about like energy grids around the planet?
Yes.
Okay. So there's one main one, and there's different energies that are around the planet, electromagnetic energy, spiritual energy, conscious energy, right? But there's one main grid system that I know of, and I'm sure that there's others that other people know of. And it's basically a grid full of all of our collective consciousness. So when you're writing down a fight or flight list, and then I'm talking about fight or flight a couple hours later, right? What are we doing? We're all tuning into that grid, right? We're all tuning into the grid system.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, very interesting. So yeah, just one grid from my knowledge. And I call it like the consciousness grid, but I'm sure there's tons of other names for that grid system.
Mm-hmm.
And what we can do is we can tap into the grid around planet Earth and we can download and access information. So if
Oh.
some guy created some sort of invention in China, um, we can pick up on that invention because he's uploading it to the grid, right? So
Mm.
that's kind of how we use it. Let me ask your spirit guides your relationship with the grid. Clearly you're drawn to it, right? Are you a grid worker? How should you specifically work with the grid? And what else do you need to know about it? So just one second. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, okay, beautiful. Okay, so I got this flash of you in an angelic lifetime before you came to this planet, and you were a grid worker. You specifically worked with the planetary grid, so the Earth grid, but also you worked with vortexes and portals as well. And you would calibrate and attune these energies of the portal and the vortex to a higher vibration. And it's funny because you do that as well in this lifetime, and you've done that in many other lifetimes as well. And I want to tell you that how I saw it was you bring the angelic vibration not only to this planet because you anchor that in, but you bring it to vortexes as well. And angelic frequency is a very high, like almost like that unconditional love frequency, but also Jesus frequency was extremely angelic as well. Is that very nurturing, compassionate, unconditional love. Interesting. Okay. So here's what your guides are mentioning you should do with this. They want you to create a vortex within your own body. Okay. So visualize, I always like to visualize the vortex. It's kind of like a spinning tornado of white light, is what it looks like. Imagine that around your body. When you're in the spinning tornado of white light, set an intention. And one of your intentions should be along the lines of, I want to activate my highest angelic frequencies. Okay. And when you do that within yourself, you can then start doing that with different portals and vortexes around you. And that essentially helps to strengthen the consciousness grid of humanity and helps to raise the vibration of the collective.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah. I also want to mention too, it's very common to feel exhausted doing grid work and portal work. It's very common to get pressure and headaches in the head, okay, when doing grid work and portal work. And also, your guides wanted to mention spinning, okay, because you're working with a portal and you can put yourself in a portal. You may also get a spinning sensation as well. Almost like, you drink too much and you get the spins, sort of like that. It's almost like a little bit nauseating. That's also very common, and that just means that you're doing the work, and it shouldn't be like that every time. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, let's move on. Okay, can we work? Okay, an activity to clear the grids, for example, negative emotions and traumas. Good question. Okay, let me just ask your spirit guides how you can specifically clear the grid, and your own grid as well, your internal energy grid too. So 1 second. Exactly. Okay. Okay, so it comes down to when you see it, you're perceiving it. When you think it, it's happening. Okay. So really just knowing that all of your thoughts, the second you say, I choose to clear the the grid system around planet Earth for the highest good of all involved, or whatever that statement is, I choose to clear the grid. Boom. Just like that, it's already cleared. It's happened. Right. Um, and we need more and more people to be clearing and making those kind of statements. So yeah, so the thing is that your guides also brought up too, that you're very powerful, and your thoughts create and manifest and help humanity, right? But you don't believe in yourself enough yet. So, you know, it's like, I'm going to turn this water into wine. And then you don't believe yourself enough to actually to do it, to really fully step into that. And I think that with you stepping back a little bit from the mother role, allowing the husband to step in as the father role, letting go of that a little bit more, you're going to be working with those higher vibrational energies, but also you're going to be stepping into the belief a lot more than you ever have before, of doing it, but knowing you're doing it, right? That's the missing link for you moving forward into these abilities. But you're already thinking about all the right things. You just have to trust yourself a lot more, is really what it comes down to. But hey, we're all human, right? Um, so funny. Okay, cool. Let's just see if there's anything else that you guys want to mention, other things going on. Is there any other questions that came to mind that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, any connections to aliens?
Okay, cool. Did we get into that last time or no?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, you said I was an angel, Izzy, 11th
Yes.
dimension.
You're so strongly connected to the angels. Like they came through again in this session. So, I mean, I consider angels to be aliens. So that's
Okay.
definitely your strongest cosmic connection. But let's see what else comes through if there's anything else here. So 1 second. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay. Okay, a couple things coming up here. First thing was a lot of purple energy moving through your system right now. Purple has many meanings, but one of them is past life, Akashic records. A lot of old stuff is starting to creep into your energy. And the reason why is because you're about to move into this brand new cycle, this brand new space. So you're just revisiting all this old stuff, right? So what did your guides recommend? Oh yeah, okay. So they said in order to just close off some of that old energy, to hmm, to face it and to step up to it in a different way. So if
Mhm.
you were to face an old challenge with the same old reaction, then you're repeating the same challenge again in your future.
Mm.
Okay. So for you, because you have this angelic vibe, you can be very submissive and you can end up giving your power away to people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because you're also an empath, you tend to have a closed off throat chakra and you get almost overwhelmed by other people's, I don't know if it's their presence or their energy or their emotions or their confidence or whatever it is, all of it, and you end up lowering your vibration and stepping away from your own power in order to give everyone else the space, and you do this with your own daughters as well, right? It's just that you give them that power, you give them that space. So moving forward, especially moving into 2021, I really see you like stepping into your power, okay, and knowing what you want. And I think we probably talked about this last time, but there's something specifically that came up, which was around Christmas time. I don't know if it's going to be like Christmas or if it's the end of December, that it looks like December, maybe all of the month of December. There's going to be a challenge, and it feels like it's going to be a challenge with people like family members and friends, like nothing major, nothing scary, but it's like you're going to be challenged to stand in your power and to speak your truth. Actually, no, this is how I raise my daughters, or like, actually, no, this is what I think, rather than just like letting it go, you're going to be forced to step up. Okay. Okay. Good. I'm just like warning you for that moment. And then that's your cue to say, oh, I'm going to step up now because this is the time. Okay. Okay, good. All right. Let's see what else they want to mention here. 1 second. Okay, cool. Okay, a couple more things. One thing that comes through, and I think we probably talked about this last time as well, but what do you really want? This is your time to figure that out before December 21st, which is a huge portal, before the new year, huge opening. What do you really want? It's not about the kids, not about the husband, not about the family. It's about you. Okay. So that's just, they're bringing that up again. So important. They also mentioned, I definitely don't think we talked about this. One of your spiritual abilities is mediumship, and it's actually communicating or tapping into the spirit realm and talking to ghosts and spirits. And they said this is a natural ability that you have within you. And there's also some fear that you have with this ability as well. Like, and I don't blame you, right? Because it's the unknown. It's like, we don't know what's going on over there. But they said that if you wanted to develop and further your spiritual gifts and abilities, to start communicating with passed away loved ones, right? So then you're super comfortable with them because they're family, right? But I also see moments in the future where like your light flickers and you're like freaked out, right? Because you're also opening yourself up to that world. So it's just a balance. Just know that opening up to your mediumship abilities will open you up to a lot of your other spiritual abilities as well. Okay. Okay, good. Anything else? Any other questions?
No, but I tried to tap in today with my like my third eye, and I talked to my father actually because
Amazing.
because I asked why my oldest daughters were feel like someone was watching her when she was falling asleep. So I tapped into that, and that was my father guarding her, watching her. And I told him, it's really sweet, but I asked him not to actually because it freaks her out. Okay.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I got aliens popping into my living room and I'm like, that's cool that you want to like watch my human life, but like, no, thank you. So that's totally fine. But that's amazing. Like you already had that experience to validate. This is my, and it was almost like that experience of her being freaked out led you to tapping into him, right? And that kind of pushed you to open up in that way, right? So it's very clear that you're getting these messages from your universe, saying, hey, focus on this as far as your gateway and your opening to more spiritual abilities. Yeah.
Yeah, so one more question, I think. How is it about the life inside of Earth? What's going
Inner Earth.
Are we
Yeah.
connected to that?
Yes, we are. So some of our human ancestors are down there. They went down there a long time ago. And, I've seen it maybe once or twice, but it literally looks like this whole other world, down there, even with its own light source and community. And it's pretty wild. And many different beings, like many different species from all over the place that are down there. And right now, we've kind of been living in two separate worlds, but there's something about them coming up from the underground. Like they're going to be actually kind of making contact with us and connecting with us in a whole new way moving forward. So I think that they're really a big part of the disclosure movement as well, like alien disclosure. And it's kind of beautiful because it's like, hey, we've been sharing the same planet this whole time. We're not from another planet or another galaxy. We've been here, right? Which I think also maybe freaks humans out, but also makes them feel a little bit more content. Who knows, right? How the reaction's going to play out. But Inner Earth is really interesting. I think that you should do some research on Inner Earth. I also think that you should do some research on grid work and portal or vortex work as well. I think that those are all kind of fields that you clearly gravitate towards, but also you have certain abilities in those too, because that's what you did as that angel in the past.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I had someone else. Yeah, I was just gonna tell you a fun thing. I make fun with my families. I kidding around with them. And when I see something in the sky, I say, "Oh, see, there's the UFO I told you about."
Yes, I love it. I
Like,
love
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, right.
Yep. Yep. You got to plant the seeds, right? You just
So,
got to.
do you know when we're gonna connect with aliens and we're gonna start to see them? I know you talked about
Yeah.
that in a video before.
Yeah, so right now there's like this individual disclosure that's happening with aliens and UFOs. So they're here, they're making contact in their own way, but they're making contact to, tons of people all over the world. And then as far as like a global disclosure, like full on, like, on the news channels and stuff like that, probably another 30 years, I would say, before maybe that happens. And maybe not, because things have really been ramping up quickly. But the governments, the American government has always already said this year, hey, UFOs are real. So we're getting there. But as far as like an on-screen meeting between a different race and humans, yeah, it's probably going to be a little while until that happens. But we're getting there slowly but surely. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, you're doing great stuff. You're exactly where you need to be. Keep up the good work. Um, keep a level head with your daughter, right? Don't get sucked in. That's another great place to create healthy boundaries and just a proper, energetic separation so that you are thriving in your own right and you don't have to be involved in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So that's really important. Yeah.
oh, okay. Okay, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Um,
Did you see my
you're
shirt?
welcome. Yes, I love it. And it looks
It's in
great.
Sweden.
Yes. Awesome. Have a great rest of your night. Sending you so much love.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Bye.
Bye.